Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fun Thursday night. I am Casey Thomas, here to enjoy some wine and some cheese with you. There are about 47 that are signed up for this event today. So I see most are online now because it's just after 7 o'clock on the East Coast. So we're thrilled. Tonight's going to be a fun night of wine and cheese pairings. I will be one of your hosts, but we have two other hosts. We have our club catering director, Susan Burkhead, and then one of our dear friends from the Robbins Cellars. Her name is Suzanne Yates. You all are very familiar with her if you have been to any of our wine dinners, to our wine expos, really to anything that involves wine at the club over the past few years. Suzanne has been a big part of that, so we're really thankful that she's here today with us. Our setting is a little different this week than that bougie Scott's Edition apartment we were in last week. Those of you who are with us, thank you so much. Those of you who weren't with us last week, you'll have an opportunity in March. There's two more opportunities. Chef Tim is thrilled. He's going to get to cook and open his kitchen to everybody. So you all are here for some food and some wine. So without further ado, I'm going to toss it over to Susan Burkhead.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is going to be hopefully a really fun night. I am coming to you live from my house. So yes, I do still have my Christmas decorations up because why not? I wanted to give a couple of shout outs. First and foremost, thank you to Suzanne for being here tonight. Thank you to Casey. We have a vision that we try and put together, and Casey makes us visible, and we would not be able to do this without him. So thank you, Casey. Hopefully everybody was able to get this beautiful card, which I'm going to go over here in a little bit too. And I wanted to just say thank you to Cassie Edwards, who's our member services assistant at the front desk. She does pretty much any type of pamphlet like this that you see, any wine dinners, menus, things like that. She's just fantastic. So a thank you to her as well. I am going to kind of go over what you guys received in your tasting packet today. You received two boxes. The first box was with the wine labeled. Suzanne is obviously the expert in the wine department, so she's going to touch on all the wines as we go through. And then you also got a box of cheese. Each cheese is paired with a wine, which is going to be on your tasting card. So if you have the first wine here, your cheese is going to be right next to it. For those of you wondering how you know what cheese is what, they are wonderfully listed right on the bottom of the plate here. So even if you take it out of the cellophane, I've gone ahead and cut all my ribbons just because it's going to make it easier to get to the cheese. And you would just take it out. I'm going to go ahead and take all of mine out once Suzanne starts kind of introducing the first wine. And then I have 4 wine glasses. I am a wine lover, so I have lots of glasses. So I'm going to use one different glass for each wine. If you don't have 4, that's fine. I think Casey said in his email, just have a glass of water next to you or something that you can wash out your glass with between each round, or at least definitely between the whites and the reds. We also have some crackers for you. That's what's in this little packet. This is as a palate cleanser. I found it very useful. Just to kind of try and cleanse my palate in between the cheeses and the wine. The way that we think that this should go is you want to taste the wine first. So make sure to taste the wine, get a really good mouthfeel, and then taste the cheese. Most of you are probably wondering why wine and cheese. So there's actually some scientific evidence out there that talk about why wine and cheese go so well together. The first study was actually done in 2012, and it talks about the fact that wine is an astringent. So wine is very acidic. You need something that's going to cut through that and give you what's called a mouthfeel. It makes your mouth feel better. And with cheese, it has a really good fattiness to it and creaminess to it that really coats your mouth and takes away kind of what that sting maybe of an alcohol or an astringent. The second study, which is kind of more towards what we're doing tonight, is a study that was done in 2016 in France, because, French know their wine. And they actually discovered that the cheese can change the taste of the wine. And I really think that you guys are going to see that in this tasting tonight. We gave you a pretty decent, I think, portion of wine and cheese. And I think it would be a really fun, after we're done with actually doing the designated cheeses with wines, for you to kind of, after this is all over, taste each different cheese with each wine, and you can see why we paired what with what, and what might even go well together that we didn't pair together. So I think that that would be a really fun thing to maybe do after we're done with this kind of smaller tasting. I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Suzanne, and we will talk about the first wine.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm excited to do this. This is my first one. We've had Zoom meetings, but I've not really done a virtual tasting. So we're looking forward to it. So the first wine that you'll be tasting is called Carpenetto Doguajolo, and it is from Tuscany. And I think why it appeals to the American palate is because it is a blend of Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and Grichetto, which is a grape indigenous to the Tuscany region. It is absolutely beautiful. And as Susan said, I think that you'll find the taste to be familiar because of the Chardonnay and the Sauvignon Blanc, but the Grichetto adds another little flavor component. And it is, it's medium bodied. So if you like Chardonnay, you're going to find the weight that you want in it. And it has, it's a very young wine. It's very fresh. And as Susan said, with this wine, you're going to have some high acid because of the Sauvignon Blanc. And the Grichetto grape is similar to a Sauvignon Blanc. So you're going to have acid, and having the cheese with it, after you've tasted the wine and then tasted the cheese, you'll see how the wine and the cheese blending together takes some of the acidity away from the wine and kind of mellows it out. So go ahead and try it, and let's see what you think. It has really good, beautiful aromas, very pleasant. You should get some citrus aromas from it. The winery was started back in 1967, and the reason the winery itself is Carpenetto. Doguajolo is the name that they came up with. It's after the stave is called dojo, and that's the stave that they use to put the barrels together. So they came up with the name Doguajolo, and they are all estate owned and managed. They own over 500 hectares of site-specific vineyards, and they're all estate grown. So they're very conscious of being environmentally friendly and doing everything as pristine as possible. Absolutely delicious.
If at any time you have any questions tonight, feel free to raise your hand. There's the raise your hand feature. And thank you, Carrie Dorsey. She loves the nose on that wine. I'm happy to ask Suzanne those questions. The monitor in front of her is kind of hard for her to read. We'd also, after you go through your tastings, as you go through your tasting, if you'd like to be brought on, we'd love to have you join in here on the panel to tell us what you think. Just raise your hand, tell me you'd like to come on the screen, and I will bring you in. Suze.
All right. So we went with a Great Hill blue cheese for this pairing. Great Hill is actually one of the only cheesemakers in the United States to use non-homogenized cow's milk. So this is a cow's milk cheese. It's a cow's milk blue. Most cheesemakers here in the U.S. Like to use homogenized milk because they the flavor of the blue, or the mold, if you will, is brought about quicker with homogenized. It's only about 60 days. So a lot of people like to try and get as much produced as possible, as quickly as possible. However, Great Blue Hill ages there is about 6 to 9 months, which gives it much more of a creamy or smooth finish than some of the other blue cheeses that you might have had. You're really going to have some creaminess to this. Just like Suzanne said, it cuts through the acid of the kind of Sauvignon Blanc-ish. I'm obviously not a sommelier. The flavor that you're getting there. And I think that it also gives the wine just a little bit of a nutty flavor. I'm kind of going to go ahead and I've already tasted the wine, so now I'm going to taste the cheese and then taste the wine again and see how it changed it. And that's really where you're going to get that different palate feel and different taste from it. This cheese also would go really well with a Riesling or a sweeter, drier wine as well. Very good.
Susan, it looks like your first glass is already empty over there.
I went with a tasting. Thank you, Casey. Just a little taste.
Feel free to drink as little, or feel free to drink as much as you like. Tonight's all about you and having a good time.
Thank you. I am at home. I was going to do it from work, but I figured that Chris Wells would not want to come in and see me asleep on a couch in the old house. So, yeah, I'm definitely getting a change. It's brighter. Suzanne, what do you think?
Yes, I totally agree. It really, to me, enhances the cheese. I mean, the cheese flavor just kind of pops when you taste the wine and the cheese together. They're almost they're separate, but then when you join them together, they are absolutely delicious. So, and I can see this, as you said, Susan, going with a Riesling because of the richness of the cheese. I think that you could also enjoy it. But this with the blue cheese, to me, you did a perfect match.
Yeah, it definitely was. For all those out there that know John Neubauer, this was his favorite pairing. So he really enjoyed this one. So you guys can definitely make sure to tell him what a good job he did.
And also this wine would be perfect with any type of seafood dish, with chicken Alfredo, with anything that has any type of seafood dish. This would be a perfect match because of the Sauvignon Blanc and the Chardonnay. The Chardonnay is not one that is overly oaked. It's not oaked at all. So you can certainly pair it with all the lighter meats, and it would work out perfect.
Yeah, and I was just going to chime in here that we think that you all at home will enjoy this wine. This is along the lines of what some of our better selling wines in the grill. Typically, Sauvignon Blanc is one of the best selling wines. So when Suzanne started helping us out for this, she said, you know what, if people really like Sauvignon Blanc over there, this is going to kind of be a hybrid Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, and I think you'll really, really like it. So we hope you like it, and let us know, and hopefully you'll get to see this some more here at the club.
And also it highlights that Italy can make wines other than just Pinot Grigio. I think when people think about Italy and they think about white wines, they automatically think Pinot Grigio, but they also make some beautiful wines, just like this one. They make Gavis, they make Verdicchios. So just to kind of expand your horizon and see that the wines coming out of Italy can be complex, and they can have a flavor profile that might appeal to you.
Absolutely. All right. I think we're going to be ready to go on to wine and cheese number 2. Wine and cheese number 2, onto the BR cone. Suzanne, I'm tossing it to you.
Oh, all right. Great.
We're good at live TV here.
That's okay. All right. So the next wine that you're going to be tasting is, of course, a Chardonnay. It is 100% Chardonnay, and it comes from the Russian River Valley. BR Cone has been started in 1996, and then in 2016, they were known for their Cabernets, their Olive Hill Cabernet, and then they decided to diversify a little bit and do a Chardonnay and then a Pinot Noir. And I suggested this one because of the flavor profile. I know that the club likes Chardonnay as well, and I thought this one would be something that would appeal to everyone. It would go with your cream sauces. It'll go with maybe your heavier dishes. A lot of my customers, when I've done wine dinners, they talk about, even though you're not supposed to have a Chardonnay with the red meat, that a really full-bodied Chardonnay they enjoy with a nice steak. So it's a versatile wine as well. And it has, well, I'll let you taste it, and then we can talk about the flavors that you think you're tasting and see if you've picked out the flavors that the winemaker wanted you to taste.
Sorry.
This wine goes through a 100% malolactic fermentation. And what that means is that the malic acid that's in the wine that's naturally occurring, they go through another fermentation, and they change that malic acid to the mallow to a lactic acid, which gives you that butteriness that you taste on the back of the palate. But it's still got good acidity. It's done in stainless steel and then also in French oak. Susan, you want to talk about the cheese?
Yes. This, first of all, this wine was my favorite wine of the tasting. I am a Chardonnay fanatic, and I love the buttery finish, like you just said. That was one of the things that we weren't really expecting when we first actually tasted this wine. So chef called an audible, and we changed the cheese. Actually, we tried a different cheese with this at our first tasting and decided to go with the second one and did another tasting with it. So we went with a pretty famous cheese. This is Humboldt Fog. It's a goat cheese. It is 200 miles north of San Francisco. So anybody that knows in Northern California, it's very foggy, especially in the mornings. So that is what this cheese is named after, the Humboldt Fog that rolls in the morning. Casey Thomas can also tell you some other tidbit information about Humboldt County, but I'll leave that for a different day. This is going to be again, it's a goat's milk cheese. It is mold rind. So as you can see, the mold on the outside, it actually ages from outside to inside. So the more pungent, silkier part is going to be right next to the rind. You can't really see it, but you can really see how soft that is. That is going to be kind of the funky part of this cheese, which I love. And then the middle part is going to be your more crumbly goat cheese that you're used to. The middle line is a vegetable ash. The ash not only adds a beautiful aesthetic, but it's an ode to the French cheese Morbier. And it also helps the mold to grow. So having the ash on the outside the rind helps the mold to grow on the outside. We chose this cheese because of the crisp pear and the Meyer lemon that we tasted in the wine. It definitely brings out the citrus rather than the butteriness. But it does, like I said, when you first drink the wine, it kind of, that butteriness really does get you, which I love. So we wanted to bring out something more in depth with that. And I think that this would also go really well with a Sauvignon Blanc. It would be interesting to taste it with the first wine to see also how that would go. So I've already tasted my Chardonnay, and I am now going to go close to the rind because, like I said, I like kind of a little more funky cheese.
The #1 export of Humboldt County. It is, we won't cover it too much tonight. It's not yet legal in all 50 states. However, there are some good stock plays. If you're interested offline, I'll tell you about the different stocks you can purchase to partake in some of the biggest legal export in Humboldt County.
Yep. Exactly. This is probably the biggest legal export. It's very good. This cheese is fantastic, especially getting a little bit of the outside rind with the middle. Very, very good, and definitely brings out, I think, the citrusiness of it, and you get less of the butteriness.
I totally agree, Susan. That was a perfect match because it does. The wine tastes totally different by itself. And then pair it with the cheese, it brings out a whole different flavor, and it brings out different flavors if you taste the cheese by itself and then you do the two together. It really does bring out different flavors altogether, and that's what's so exciting about doing wine tastings and understanding that wines really do need to have food to really enjoy them. And I think the first two pairings are showing that exactly, that you do need that wonderful food pairing to go with the wine so that you can enjoy both.
And I just want to let Suzanne, you and Susan know there's a lot of good comments coming in right here on this Chardonnay. Susan, I don't know if you can see them. I don't think you can see them at your house. I'm getting all your comments right here, so keep them coming in. I'll pass them. Any questions, I'll pass them along to Susan, who is at home, and Suzanne, who's about 15 feet, 20 feet in front of me. All right. On to wine number 3.
Okay. Want me to go?
Yes.
All right. Beautiful Pinot Noir from Willamette Valley. It is the closest that we can get to a Burgundian wine here in the United States, I think. The climate is perfect for growing Pinot Noir. This is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful wine. They leave it on the skins. It's all estate grown. Each vintage is always estate grown. It's sustainable. It's beautiful, genuine value for this wine. It's all hand harvested, and the grapes are mostly destemmed, but then they do leave some in whole clusters before they crush, which adds different flavors that come out in the wine. And then they soak the grapes in this particular wine for 3 to 5 days. So they really extract every bit of the flavor coming out of this wine. And Pinot Noir has always been called the versatile wine. It can go with meat, it can go with fish, it can go with cheese. It's beautiful by itself. So you should get a lot of complex flavors coming out of this particular Pinot Noir. Walnut City is, all they make is Pinot Noir. They've just started making some Chardonnay, and they do make a Pinot Gris, but their predominant production is always going to be Pinot Noir. So give it a try and see what you think. Again, another really beautiful wine. It is. There, but very, very soft. So it's not going to be a very astringent wine. And
very velvety, but not tannin.
None at all. No, you have tannins there, but they're not. As we get to the Cabernet, you'll see what we're talking about when we talk about tannins. That's that sensation of dryness that you get in the wine. The Pinot Noirs generally do not have that because of the grape itself. And this is our 2019, yes, 2019 vintage.
Hey, Suzanne, pardon me, I see somebody who raised their hand, so I am going to bring them in.
Okay.
And let's see, the DeWalls raised their hand. So
right.
let's see if the magic of this all works. Okay. Bear with us for just a minute. Susan, you want to jump in?
Yeah. Talk about the cheese.
Yeah.
All right, so with this, we went with a Petit Basque, which Petit Basque is a sheep's milk cheese. This cheese is actually harvested in the Pyrenees Mountains, which is right in between France and Spain. A fun fact about sheep's milk cheeses is that sheep only produce milk seasonally, so they only produce milk for about 6 months out of the year. So the cheesemakers really only have a short window to make all of their cheese for a year within the time that the sheep are milking. So that's kind of interesting. This Petit Basque, it's a semi-hard cheese. It's aged at a minimum of 70 days. You're probably going to taste some familiar taste there. Anybody that likes cheese and that likes manchego, this is kind of a very light, mild, young manchego. It is not. It is actually, the rind is wrapped with a thin layer of plastic for it to get its rind built up. Chef thought, and likely so, that it was probably a wet rind, but it actually wasn't. It's a dry rind, but its moisture is kept in itself within that plastic wrap. This cheese will probably also go really well with a Tempranillo. I can never say that. Suzanne, don't chastise me too bad. Or even a Beaujolais. Like this cheese will also go really well with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my tasting. Okay. Really good soft cheese. You can definitely tell it's a sheep's milk cheese. There's not a lot of sheep milk here in the United States. A lot of it comes from the Pyrenees Mountains. Oh yeah, I think that makes that wine a lot bolder, actually, a little bit more.
It brings out a lot more of the strawberry flavors that you typically can pick up.
And I've seen a couple of people here are saying that it's the best wine so far this evening.
Oh my goodness! Well,
wait till we get to number 4.
Yeah, that's a really pretty one too. But Pinot Noir, it is. You can also with Pinot Noir, and I'm sure that all of the members already know this, but especially in the summertime, you can put a slight chill on Pinot Noir and enjoy it sitting out on the patio. The winery's been around since 1999, and they've been crafting wines for over 30 years now. And this particular Pinot Noir comes from 2 Pacific vineyards, and they put a lot of care into making this wine really stand out. And when I tasted the wine, Susan, it was, again, I've been in this business for so long, but it still is such a pleasure to taste wines and foods and see how they enhance each other. I mean, it's just absolutely delicious how the cheese was wonderful by itself, but then you taste it with the wine and it's like you just want to keep on having another bite, another sip.
Mm-hmm. It really is interesting. I feel like, and again, this just might be me, but I really do feel like the cheese enhanced the wine so much. It almost feels like that wine almost turned into a cab. Like it really drew out those tannins, I felt like.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to answer some questions real quick. Yes, we are going to be selling bottles of these wines. Everyone who's in this event tonight, I'll send out an email to you so you can order whichever wines you would like to order. But I do have a question for Suzanne. Suzanne, we'd like you to settle a debate that we had here on the food and beverage team today. And you kind of touched on it just now. You were talking about chilling the red wines, and we were kind of among the management team whether we chill our red wines or not. I'm somebody who will, when initially I open my red wine at room temperature, but if there's a rare occasion where we don't finish the bottle of wine, and that's a rare occasion at my house, we do stick it in the fridge, and then when we open it the next day, we drink it chilled. And we've kind of had that from some of the other food and beverage managers here, but
Right.
I won't name any names. Were looking at me like I was speaking a foreign language when I told them that we did that. So what's your view on that?
Well, officially, I think what people get confused about is when they say that red wines need to be at room temperature. What we've taken that word and used it basically incorrectly. What they're saying is that the wine should be at cellar temperature. And cellar temperature for reds is going to be between 57, 58 degrees to 60 to 62. So that's basically a chilled wine. You don't want to have a red wine at 78 degrees or at 80 degrees or 72 degrees, even at room temperature, because what happens is that it pulls out more of the bitterness and the tannins in the wine and more of the alcohol. So doing it at cellar temperature is ideal. And red wines, I think here in the United States, we tend to serve our white wines way too cold. Again, white wine should be at 42 degrees, not at 32, where it's freezing. It's supposed to be to where, again, it will close the wines down. I know we've all been out to dinner and a wine has been served to us, and if it's white and it chills the glass when it's poured into it, it's too cold. And then halfway through the dinner, you think, gosh, this wine's really tasting good now. It's because the temperature has come down on up a little bit for whites. So if you can, try to do that experiment. And to answer the question is whether you can chill red wines. You can. It all really depends on your own palate and what you want to take from the wine. Chilling a white wine closes it down, as well as if you're getting a red wine too warm, then you're bringing out more of the flaws, and not flaws, but more of the harshness of the wine instead of the fruit and the vanilla and the oak flavors that will balance it out. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you.
Well, it doesn't happen very often, neither with Casey or my husband, but I guess, Casey, I can say you were right on that
one. Thank you. So moving on, we are now on our fourth wine and cheese pairing, but before we get there, I did get a question about the purchasing of wine. I will get with Chef Tim. I know Chef Tim is on the line right now in that bougie Scotch Edition Palace, but we'll see if some people are interested in getting some of this cheese. I know we don't typically have it in stock here, but it is something that I believe we can order for you. It's just one of those questions that I have to get with Chef Tim to see. Sometimes we have to order a huge quantity of items to get them here or not, but I'll definitely reach back out to you. And if anybody else is interested in the cheese, send me a message here and I'll take care of you. So on to Suzanne.
All right. This one we have just recently brought into our portfolio at Robin Cellars, and it fast became one of my favorites. It is absolutely delicious. It is from the same Mike O'Connell, who is a newest creation from him, and with the collaboration of Larry Levine, who has 30 years of experience in making wine. He has Larry Levine has worked for Quintessa and a lot of notable wineries out of California. And they redirected their interest in making an affordable, absolutely delicious Napa Valley Cabernet called Logan Farrell. It is the grapes, I want to read this. It said the grapes were crushed and allowed to cold soak for a few days before being fermented in stainless steel tanks, but then it's transferred to French oak and it's aged for 20 months before it's released. And it's all in French oak, and only about 25% of that is new oak. So when you taste this wine, you're going to see that it tastes like a much older Cabernet, because the tannins are round and soft and lush, and the flavors that come out of this wine are absolutely delicious. I'll be curious to hear from the members if you pick up what kind of flavors you're picking up, because it's very intense and some surprises. So go ahead and taste it and let me know what you think.
I love this wine, and I don't even like Cabernet. I'm very much a white wine drinker. If I drink red, it's going to be a Pinot.
Mm-hmm.
And we threw you an audible, I think, for this one. So we had originally tasted a different red, a different cab, and then John Little actually suggested this one out of our wine that we had in house, and I think it's phenomenal. It's not slap in your face in terms of a Cabernet, but it definitely has the body of a Cabernet. I'm definitely, for myself, I'm getting a little bit of caramel, a little bit of like plummy.
Yep, absolutely.
Which I have also cheated because I had a tasting before, so I know what I'm about to taste with the cheese, and I think that you guys are gonna get floored by this next pairing. So.
Hey, I have Susan. You don't know this yet, but I have a cameo from executive chef Tim making a cameo.
Thanks for being here, Chef.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. I hope everyone is enjoying this as much as I am, because this has been phenomenal thus far.
Chef Tim, do you have a favorite wine and cheese pairing tonight?
I'm torn between the Cone and the Farrell. I think both of those are top notch. I wish I had more of each. I don't know who poured my wines tonight, but I got manager pours, and I'm going to write a sternly worded letter to someone to make sure this doesn't happen the next time.
Thank you, Chef. I'm glad that you like the wines.
It's delicious. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for all of your help in putting this together.
Oh, of course. It's been fun. It's been fun. And really the flavors coming out of this wine between the caramel and almost like roasted apple, and I definitely pick up a little bit of chocolate.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the toasted oak, but again, it's all so well blended together, and it's got the tannins. I always talk about tannins because a lot of times people won't like Cabernet because it's like, oh my gosh, it's too much tannin. It dries my mouth out. But this one is so soft, but it still can hold up to a lot of really flavorful foods.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you like it.
Absolutely. I think the cheese that Chef and I decided on this one was a tumbleweed cheddar, which I think a lot of times people don't think cheddar with Cabernet. But I think that for me, this was the biggest surprise in terms of tasting. It completely goes back to the study we talked about at the very beginning, that the cheese or food in general can change the way that a wine tastes 100%. So this is again, like I said, a tumbleweed cheddar. It's a raw cow's milk. So hopefully nobody is drinking wine that might be pregnant, but it is, this is unpasteurized. So please, if you have your daughter or anybody over that you have leftover cheese that might be pregnant, don't eat this unpasteurized cheese. This is a cow's milk cheese. It's grass fed, and I really think that it shows. The cheesemaker wanted it to show that this was a grass fed cheese. It's aged for 12 months in a cave on their property. This cheese it's by Five Spoke Creamery, which is right outside of New York City. It's right on the other side of the river. It's about 50 miles, I think. People use raw milk or unpasteurized milk in their cheese because it's said to make the cheese richer and more flavorful than an unpasteurized milk. In the U.S., obviously, like I said, people who are pregnant probably shouldn't eat this cheese. And in the U.S., we do have some pretty strict regulations on it. All raw milk cheeses have to be aged for at least 60 days. So that's why this one is aged for at least 12 months. Casey just asked Chef what his favorite pairing was. My favorite pairing is this one. When I take a bite of this cheese and then I taste this wine, my mouth fills with blackberry jam. It just completely changed the way that this wine tasted to me. It took me almost back to childhood when I would eat blackberry jam on toast. It's phenomenal. And I think that this cheese would also stand up really well to something like a Bordeaux. It also would be really good with if you were going to still have it with this Cabernet, serving it with some figs or balsamic vinegar. Yes. Would also bring out this flavors.
Totally agree. And I think it also pulled out more of that, the roasted apple wood. I got more of that flavor when I tasted it with the cheese, where tasting it alone, I got more caramel and honey and chocolate. So again, it's almost like two different wines, depending on what flavors you wanted to pull or you wanted to have with the wine.
Suzanne, I received a question on here asking about tannins. And I know the way I try to explain tannins it's that pucker feeling you get when drinking wine. It's really associated with red wines, big Cabernets. Can you kind of speak just for a minute?
Oh, absolutely.
20 seconds on what tannins are.
Tannins that naturally occur in wine. You need tannins in wine for them to age. And the tannins can be soft or they can be very harsh. And it really depends on the winemaker and how they age them. So that's why a red wine, the tannins get softer over years, because when they first come out of the barrel, the tannins are going to be the most high, unless it was designed not to be. But it is that sensation of dryness that you get, just like tannins are what you taste in red wines. Acidity is what you taste in white. So tannins are, it's inevitable that they have to be in wines, but it also depends on the grape. You're going to get more tannins in a Cabernet or a Merlot, more of the king of grapes, or than you would say a Pinot Noir or the Gamay grape that they make Beaujolais from. So it is a necessary evil, but it depends on the aging of the wine too, how those tannins are softened.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suzanne.
Sure. I enjoyed it. It's been fun.
I
hope everybody had fun.
Yeah.
I think we have now hit on the 4 wines and the 4 cheeses, and just a few things to reiterate. I will send out an email to everybody so you'll know how to order these wines. And I'll also reach out to those of you who are interested in some of these cheeses, and I'll get with Chef Tim. I think he took 4 bottles home with today, the big ones, not the little ones that you all got. And if he's feeling okay tomorrow, we'll talk about what those cheeses are and how we can get some of them for you. So thank you so much to everybody who joined in tonight. Thank you, members. Thank you, Suzanne Yates from the Robin Cellars. Truly a friend to us here at the club, a friend, a partner. Susan Burkhead. I knew we were going to have problems with Susan. Susan Burkhead, Cassie, Chef Tim, John Little, the food and beverage team for really packaging this up and bringing it to you all tonight. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing all of you here. And without further ado, it's 7:46. It's probably time for everybody to enjoy their wine and have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Susan. Everything was wonderful.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Casey. Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Take care.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.